how often should a homeowner check their water?
So this is a great question, and the good news is the EPA's already come up with that conclusion for us. So the EPA recommends to test your water at minimum once per year for bacteria, so both total coliform and E. coli, and for nitrates, both of which can change depending on seasonality. Did you run your well over with a lawnmower? Do you have a farm right behind your house? Maybe you decided to get chickens. Things can change in your local environment that can influence those results. So the EPA recommends to test your water for nitrates and bacteria at least once a year, and I second that recommendation. Now, I also will usually tell people switch up when you test it. Let's just say right now we're testing it in the spring. Maybe next time you test in the fall. Maybe you test in the summer. Maybe you test in the winter. You want to switch up when you test so we can get more data points to figure out, oh, maybe I get a spike of nitrates in the spring. Maybe it's because the guy's fertilizing his fields right behind your house. Those sorts of things, if you're not collecting data, you're not going to know what's going on in your water. So at least test once a year. But if you're really, really crazy, you could also do it every month.
Okay, and then a question switching back to the septic. Now we're living here with a septic field, a septic tank. We're not on public sewage. As a family of 3 or 4, how often am I going to have to pump my septic tank?
Great question. So the University of Maryland has said that the ideal pumping frequency is every 2 to 5 years. Now, the reason that sounds like a large gap between the two is because how often are you home, right? Do you work from home? If you work from home, obviously, and this is kind of a gross subject, but you're going to be using the bathroom more often. If you're putting a lot of really thick toilet paper down there, like that real premium stuff, you're also building up more solids in your tank. Do you have a garbage disposal? If you have a garbage disposal, guess what? Now you're putting more stuff into your system. UMD has gone ahead and said 2 to 5 years is the optimal pumping range. I would say in practice, most families of 4 are pumping every 3-ish years. If you work from home or you're heavily using that garbage disposal, maybe you're going every 2 years. If it's only 2 of you, maybe you go every 4 years.
Very good. Awesome. Now, I have not prompted you for this interview, Nick. You are quite the natural. Is there anything that you think a person that is considering purchasing a home with either well or septic should know? And this will be the last question I ask you.
So I think the most important thing that a buyer should know is when you're trying to figure out who do you have test your system, you need to go with somebody who's, one, qualified. I would argue they should not do the repair. So, for example, all of the defects I find, I'm not fixing. And the reason I think there needs to be a delineation between the two is, as a buyer, as a seller, if I tell you you have a problem with your septic system and I tell you it's going to be $10,000 to fix it, well, am I just fishing for $10,000 or do you actually have a problem? So I think that it's very incumbent upon whoever's inspecting your system, it doesn't matter who they are, they should not be able to do the repair of that property. Same thing goes when it comes to qualification. Not everybody is qualified to inspect these. I hold inspection licenses. I also hold installer licenses. I've got a lot of training and a lot of licensing on this. But to get one of the licenses, all it takes is a 16-hour course and a homeowner can take it. So what's to stop some random Joe Schmo from doing that same thing? So you want to make sure that whoever you hire, you vet, you ask, you talk around, get referrals. Most of our business is referral business because I think we produce a very high quality product. Not everybody's going to be as forthcoming with their education level. It's very important that they know what they're talking about and they don't do the repair.
Nick, couldn't agree with you anymore. I learned so much today just being here and popping the lid of the riser of the septic.